Hey everybody, just waiting for a few more people to get in here. If you're watching on Twitter, for some reason Twitter doesn't allow you to comment or join the conversation or all that stuff. So if you want to actually join the conversation, click the YouTube link. I'm actually posting a new link now just in case you can't find it. That way you can join the conversation, you can ask me questions, you can chat. Maybe I'll even bring some people on to join the live. No holds barred. So click the YouTube link, join via YouTube. It's on my Twitter profile. It'll be the top post in the comments. The YouTube link will be there. I'm literally posting it right now. Okay, done. So we'll just give it a minute, let some more people come in. I hope people can hear me. If anybody is watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know that you can hear what I'm saying. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday night. I haven't done a whole lot exciting, really. I'm getting old, I guess. Going to Arizona on Wednesday, though. I'm from PA. We're planning on moving to Arizona, actually. So we are going there this week just to make sure we can handle the hottest part of the summer. The family is going out. So hopefully we like it. And if we do, we will be living there by this time next year. My son will finish his 8th grade here, where we live, and then he'll start 9th grade in Arizona. If somebody is watching on YouTube, please leave a comment and just let me know that you can hear me. Can anybody hear me? Check, check, check. We're going to talk about UFOs eventually, once I find out if you guys can hear me or not, and some more people get in here. We have 24 people watching right now. Thank you to each and every one of you for joining. I'm just chilling in my office. I was bored. I figured I haven't done a live in a long time, so what the hell? Might as well do it. T. Freeman, thank you very much. Much appreciated, man. I am like the absolute worst with technology, so I'm lucky I can send a text message. That's how bad I am. So thank you for letting me know. Also, anything you guys want to talk about, just put it in the comments. There's no schedule. I have nothing written down really to talk about. I thought we'd talk about Trump's, I don't know, it wasn't really an executive order. I don't know what it was actually titled, but now people who actually worked in legacy programs can go to Arrow, they can go to ODNI, they can go to Pursue, but really the big question is, are any of those agencies trustworthy? Or is this whole thing just another place? Was Arrow's reputation getting so bad that Pursue is now just another arrow in a place to silo information so it never makes it to the public? The people who have put on the council, I can't say I'm very confident about. especially Michael Shermer, who is the absolute worst in my opinion. There's no doubting Dr. Loeb is brilliant, but he's also a player in politics and in those government circles. So, I'm not sure how much he can be trusted. Really, I like Admiral Tim Gallaudet as well. But, let's face it, he is also a player in those circles. So, I don't know. We'll talk about it more. And any reports about the B-52 crash at Edwards Air Force Base on June 15th. More information to happen. Is your name Tim T. Freeman? I don't actually really know anything about that. I appreciate you bringing that up. Was any official explanation given for the crash or anything? I don't know how I didn't hear about that. Was there any fatalities? Let me look that up. Or was it Edwards? No. It's interesting. I'm gonna Google it right now. Especially a B-52. How the hell did it crash? Eight victims identified in deadly B-52 crash. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I'm looking at right now what happened. It looks like, was it in the ocean? The rumors of red orb was observing it. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is something I definitely need to look into. In this day and age, I really wouldn't be shocked if anything happened. I'm a pretty rational person. Ever since I was a kid, I love UFOs. I love everything strange and unusual. I just love it. It's my passion. But I can't help but being just a grounded, rational person. But the last year, 2 years maybe, I've had a feeling that something big is coming. Something is changing. And I don't think people in Washington would be giving the UAP subject so much attention and coverage if we weren't being prepared for something major on the way. I think we're being conditioned to some kind of event that's going to happen. And there's a lot of, circumstantial evidence that's pointing that way as well. So, is this B-52 crash related to that? It very well could be. And are they covering up the real reason for the crash? It's something I definitely need to look into. I was not aware of that. But thank you, everybody. I'm Joe. I run UAP Reporting Center. On YouTube, I run the Beyond Top Secret podcast by UAP Reporting Center. We also have a website. I know I have a bunch of names, but the website is www.thecontactreport.com. We do deep dive investigations there. You can also actually report UFO sightings on there. Just click report and a form will come up where you can put your information in. It's not shared with anybody. I'm not part of any government or corporation or anything like that. It's just for me. I'm a one-man show. But if possible, if I think a case that comes in warrants further investigation, and if I can do actual good by talking to witnesses, were there any marks on trees, like burn marks, say, on trees, or indentations made on the ground, or anything like that? If possible, I'll actually come and interview witnesses, put boots on the ground, and do whatever I can. I am a investigator. I did study it. This big book right here taught me how. Think what you want about MUFON, but their field investigator course is phenomenal. I could not recommend it more, and there is so much in here on how to actually investigate a UAP case. I know there are so many people on here who are investigators and journalists, and more power to them. I'm one of them. More people looking into this stuff, the better. But, I am an actual UAP investigator. So when these reports come in, there's a standard that is kept to investigating them. Just like if it was any other case, just like if it was police work, if you were a detective at a police department or anything like that, you go by rules and guidelines, and it's no different here. So www.thecontactreport.com. Like I said, you can report UFO sightings on there. I appreciate it. I'm still just talking until more people get here, but we're just here having a conversation. I wish, if you're on Twitter, you cannot participate by leaving comments or joining the conversation. You have to go to YouTube for that. So if you're on Twitter, go to my profile. You'll see basically the first post is this live. In the comments, the YouTube link is there. Click the YouTube link and you can join the conversation. You can ask me questions. If some people want to even come on the live, I'll bring them on. So click the link, click the YouTube link. I'm just going to keep rambling until more people get in. We have 56 people watching, 55 people watching right now. It's much appreciated to everybody. I know it looks like I'm shaking the camera. I apologize. Hope everybody's Saturday night is going well. I'd love to know, what does everybody out there think about Donald Trump waiving NDA? So people in legacy programs can actually go to the ODNI, they can go to Pursue, they can go to Arrow and relay their experiences to them. I don't know how I feel about it personally. I think it's like a 50-50 shot that it actually goes anywhere. If I had to bet money, I'd bet money on the side that this is just another way for the gatekeepers to silo information so it never reaches our ears. They'll give us drips and drabs of meaningless things like pictures that can't be proven, pictures that are in a gray area where looks like a UFO, but there's nothing really that we can prove, or nothing really that's going to move the conversation forward in a concrete way. And anything that will do that, I think these organizations like Pursue, like Arrow, for God's sakes, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, those aren't transparency agencies. They're the agencies that keep transparency from us. So all of a sudden, they're going to have a free hand and just let us hear the good stuff. I just don't think that's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong. I'll be the first person to come out and say I'm wrong, and do a dance for joy that we're actually getting something that helps disclosure. But basically, then they instructed federal agencies and contractors to waive previous NDAs for former government personnel, and this is an important part, I think, and for contractors. So people at Lockheed, people at Northrop Grumman, people at Battelle, and other agencies can now come forward and talk to Pursue, talk to Arrow, talk to ODNI, and relay what their experience has been in alleged legacy programs, which on its face is huge. But again, I keep coming back to the point that, are these agencies really here for transparency, or are these agencies here to silo information and cut us at the knees before disclosure ever happens? Because if I had to bet, like I was just saying, these agencies are here to stop us from seeing anything meaningful that will contribute to disclosure. Let's see. So I'm still just waiting for more people to get in. I think we have 75 people now, which is pretty cool. But more people keep coming in. Click the YouTube link. It's on the top post on my Twitter profile, on my X profile. So you can actually come in and leave comments and ask questions. That really helps the show. Like, this is a show for all of us to get together and talk. Doing that on YouTube is what helps, because you can actually join the conversation. You're a partner in this conversation. So click the YouTube link on my X profile. Come on over, ask questions. Let's have a chat. Otherwise, you're just going to have me rambling on here for a little bit longer. what do you guys think? So I just went on talking about how Trump waived these NDAs. How do you guys feel about it? Do you think anything meaningful is going to come from it or not? Is this just another way for whistleblowers to come forward? So let's say a whole batch of new whistleblowers come forward. They're all pumped. Yes, we can finally talk. We can finally reveal what we know. So they go to these agencies expecting transparency to happen. So Arrow has already gotten a bad rap. If you've been following this, you know Arrow has gotten a seriously bad rap. So they come out with this new Pursue. Oh, this new thing, it's great. All these great people are on it, like Avi Loeb and Admiral Gallaudet and Michael Shermer. Come forward. We're going to give it an honest take and evaluate the information. Or is it just another mechanism? A whistleblower comes forward, tells them what they know, it gets stamped with classified, and you're never going to hear a thing about it. Again, that's kind of what I think is going to happen. But again, I hope I'm wrong. T. Freeman, what area are you located in? I don't think people will take the legal risk is too high. Yeah, I agree. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm about not too far from Philadelphia. But hopefully we're moving to Arizona. We're going to Arizona in a few days to check it out. And we decided to go in the hottest part of summer to make sure that we can handle it. We have 82 people. Thank you for everybody. Thanks to everybody for stopping by. Click the link on X if you're watching on X so you can actually join in the conversation. If you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. We're somewhat new to YouTube. We're trying to grow the channel, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button. There's a lot of great interviews with the leading voices in the UAP disclosure movement, I guess you can say. So check it out. We have an interview with James Fox. I'm sure everybody knows who James Fox is if you're here. There's also a really interesting conversation with Dean Alioto, who just had a new film come out, The Experiencers. Or full disclosure, The Experiencers. He spent 8 years with experiencers / abductees, and it's really a pretty interesting conversation, so you can check that out. There's a bunch of other cool interviews as well. Oh man, are you in San Diego? Are you lucky? San Diego has a lot of activity right now. Many red orbs are being seen near the ocean. Somebody said something about an orb. If you see it, was it a red orb or a blue orb? Run. I forget who said that. Do you remember who said that? I don't remember if it was red or blue, but somebody in government or around government said if you see a red orb, run. It was either red or blue. I can't remember which one it was. But if there's a lot of red orbs around San Diego, that's probably pretty concerning. Have you seen any? I actually have a sister-in-law that lives in San Diego. Again, if you're watching on X, please click the link at the top of my profile. The link for YouTube is in the comments as well. Come join over on YouTube so you can actually join in the conversation. Be much appreciated. I'm not one that just comes on camera and rambles, so I need you guys to help move the conversation forward. I'd appreciate it. I saw 2 red orbs last year in the University of Virginia. Wow, I've never seen a UFO. I really want to. I'm always looking up. I walk my dog at night all the times, and the whole walk I'm basically looking up in the sky. But not yet. I did have a crazy experience once. I'll tell you guys the story. We have 83 people right now. If we get to 100 viewers, I will tell the craziest paranormal thing that ever happened to me. And it was a hell of a experience. I mean, it was full on 2 feet from me. It was no bullshit, and there was another witness to it. So if we get to 100 people watching the live, I will tell that story. So we were talking about whistleblowers. T. Freeman, I would love to hear that story. I'll actually be in Virginia in like 2 weeks. With my work, my full-time work, I do a lot of traveling. And Virginia is in my territory. So I'll be there for a week, probably in 2 weeks. So I love Virginia. Virginia is an absolute beautiful state. I love Virginia. I'm a big Civil War buff too, so I like visiting the Civil War battlefields while I'm there. I get my work done, but when I get a chance, I like to visit the battlefields. I'm a huge Civil War guy. I have a whole section on my bottom row of my bookshelf that behind me. The bottom section is pretty much all Civil War books. Probably the greatest Civil War books ever written or ever wrote were the Civil War by Shelby Foote. Phenomenal series on the Civil War. You saw them at the PSI at the side games. Wow. Did everybody see them? That must have been pretty interesting. Were you at Contact in the Desert this year? We're up to 88 people, 89 people. If we get to 100, I'm going to tell the absolute craziest paranormal thing that ever happened to me. And it was pretty intense. It was so intense, as a matter of fact, that we ran out of the place that we were at. Literally ran with the knife out. That's how intense it got. I'll tell the whole story. We need 9 more people. Once we reach 100 viewers, I will tell the story. We're at 93. Also, oh, you were sitting behind. Get out of here. Where at? You were sitting behind me. Where at Contact in the Desert? Did we talk? That's interesting. As a matter of fact, I have my media credentials from Contact right here. I have them hanging on my bookshelf here. So that was my first Contact in the Desert, and I had so much fun. It's such an experience. For everybody watching, if you have not been to Contact in the Desert, I cannot recommend going enough. It's one of the only places I remember being at where nobody was on their phones for prolonged periods of time. Because it just seemed like everybody there was at the exact place they wanted to be, with the people they wanted to be with. And that was probably the best thing about it. In the panel with Eric Davis. Oh, pretty cool, man. Now, if you go again this year, come and say hi, and we'll shoot the shit, and I'll buy you a beer. Vito, what's up, Vito? That's Vito from Perfect Storm Gaming. And again, anybody who's watching, click the link on X. Come over to watch on YouTube so you can actually join the conversation. Vito, you want to come on? Because I'm rambling on here. Let me know if you want to come on. I'll send you the link. Also, Mr. Freeman, if you want to come on as well, you're welcome. We're at 96. 4 more, and I will tell the... good for you, Vito. Hi, Vito's wife. You deserve a Medal of Honor for putting up with my friend Vito here. At the Chris Bledsoe Skywatch event, I even saw White Orca salmon go up above. Holy shit. God damn. It was a white. I wonder what the difference is between a red orb and a white orb. I wonder if there's like... I wonder what the difference is. Are they from different places, different technologies? Just whatever light they decided to flick on that day? Who the hell knows? Four more people until I'll tell the story on crazy shit that happened. It was about the only paranormal thing that ever happened to me, but it's had me questioning reality ever since it happened, because it was beyond irrefutable proof that there is something more to our existence, whether it be after, what happens after we die, what our reality is actually like. So, I mean, it's had me, but it was beyond irrefutable proof that there is something. After January. What the hell does that mean, Vito? Glad I made you laugh, Mrs. Vito. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. After January. Are you talking about the paranormal thing that? Oh no, I know what you're talking about. No. This was years ago. There's some crazy shit. No, it blew that out of the water. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was actually paranormal, if it was just a weird thing that happened. But no, this was some years ago at an old tuberculosis hospital. Hey, we're at 99. One more, and we're gonna tell the story. Thank you to everybody for being here. We have 99 people. Bro, check the stuff from last night's live. Oh, I saw that with the light or something behind Ty. Yeah, that was it's pretty interesting. What's more interesting though is Gene's stuff about walking today. That blew my mind. I'm sure you have as well, but I've seen Gene walk, and it's always like with a little pain and stiff. I never saw him walk like that, so that was pretty awesome to see. I hope it lasts a while. So, anybody watching who doesn't know, Gene Sticko from Engineering Infinity has some issues with his back and neck and has some trouble walking. When he does walk, he has a little bit of a cane to help him walk. You can tell he's like very stiff. But apparently him and Ty from what was a Total Disclosure podcast met with some guy who brought a piece of metal from the infamous Montauk. Shit, I'm gonna run that metal up my nut. Vito, that's what I thought. I was gonna say that in the text message earlier, but I don't want to be appropriate. I was gonna rub it on my junk and get some help with that. What the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, so they had somebody over who brought a piece of metal from Montauk. The infamous Montauk. Are you guys familiar with Montauk? If you're not, it's a crazy story that testing was done at. I think it goes back to like the Philadelphia experiment. All kinds of crazy shit. But apparently some guy brought a piece of metal from there, and Gene held it in his hand, and it got hot, and he felt like a sensation in his neck where he has some trouble, and after he did it, his like pain just went away. So I don't know. I saw a video. It was pretty incredible. I'm sure Ty and Gene will talk about it. So Lyme disease comes from there. I have Lyme disease, and it sucks. We are at 108 people. I appreciate everybody watching. Again, on my X, there is a link at the top of my profile. There'll be a link. You just click the link. It'll bring you over to StreamYard or to YouTube, and come join the conversation. So you can ask questions and join the chat, because I suck at just rambling along here. We are at 107 people, so I will tell that story shortly. I appreciate everybody coming. I'm going to tell the story of the craziest paranormal thing that I've ever experienced, and it was really pretty intense. Vito, thanks for coming by, man. I really appreciate it. Vito's a good dude. Go follow Vito at everything he's got going on at The Perfect Storm Gaming on Twitter and YouTube, and anywhere else he has something going on. Vito's a great dude, so go check him out. So, before I tell this story, I wish you guys would click on YouTube so you can raise your hand or put it in the comments. But how many of you are familiar with the Kandahar giant story out of Afghanistan? So if you're not, I'll give you a quick rundown on what this story is, and we'll talk about if we think there's something to it or not. Alright, so this was during the height of the war, towards the beginning stages, I believe, of the Afghanistan war. And an army company or whatever, some army people, were on a mission and they missed their radio check-ins. Nobody had heard from them. So a rescue party was sent to what their location was. So I believe it was Special Forces who followed their trail up to, now this was in the Hindu Kush in Afghanistan. If you're not familiar, it's very high mountains, very rugged terrain, a lot of cave systems, just ancient place. So ancient that Alexander the Great and his soldiers were there, however many, 3,000 years ago or whatever it was. But Afghanistan is just a very mysterious place. They call it the graveyard of empires for a reason. And I think we proved that once again when we cut and ran and just left billions and billions of dollars of our equipment there. So literally a graveyard of an empire. So the special forces were deployed to find out what happened to this army company that went missing. So they follow the trail. They go up to this cave system in the Hindu Kush, pretty high altitude. So they get up there. They see scattered bits of radio equipment, weapons, body parts laying around. So they're like, what the F happened here? So lo and behold, what looked like a 12-foot giant comes out of a cave with a giant spear with a metal, a stick with a metal spear on the front, like giant. So this giant comes and attacks the Special Forces soldiers that came to find out what happened to the original soldiers. A shit show ensues. The Special Forces detachment opens fire with automatic weapons. After a prolonged series of battles, I guess you can say, because from what I heard, it went on for quite a few minutes with automatic gunfire hitting this thing. 50 caliber rounds, from what I've heard, as well as 5.56 or 7.62. Heavy shit. So they bring the giant down. They wrap it in a tarp. A chopper comes in. So once the giant is wrapped in the tarp, they wrap it up. They tie it to a cable to the chopper. Chopper takes off, brings it, from what I heard, to Bagram Air Force Base, or one of the bases we had in Afghanistan, where it was taken out and brought somewhere for testing. But Afghanistan has a long history of strange shit. So after that, there's a story. So there is a professional arm wrestler. I can't remember his name, but he's famous. He was on the told this story on the Joe Rogan Experience. He's like one of the best professional arm wrestlers that there ever was, but he was also Special Forces in the Canadian military. And he recalled a mission he was on. They were having a Shura Council. So a Shura Council in Afghanistan is all the elders from a village or a certain tribe. They get together, they sit in a circle, and they talk. And the Shura Council regularly would meet with officials from our military. And that's what was going on, but the Canadian military. So this professional arm wrestler who was on Joe Rogan was there. He was maybe 100 yards away or 50 yards away from where this Shura Council was taking place. And a vehicle pulls up. Who gets out? But at least an 8-foot tall warlord. An 8-foot tall Afghani warlord. And he said it wasn't like an 8-foot tall like somebody you'd see in the NBA, like 7'6" with, they're very, very skinny. He was 8 foot tall, but he had like the girth to go with it. He was a literal giant. So I wrote an article on my website investigating this whole thing. Go and read it, www.thecontactreport.com. It goes into the details of what happened, but I don't know if you've ever heard about that, but it was a really, really interesting story. Afghanistan is a very, very strange place. All right, so let's tell the story about the biggest paranormal incident I've ever had. So it was some. Let me take a puff of my vape first before I get into this. So I've always believed in UFOs. I've always, ever since I was a little kid. I remember basically as early as I can remember going into the library at my grade school. I'd go right to the section where I can find books about the Bermuda Triangle, or UFOs, or Bigfoot, or Atlantis, or just anything strange and unusual. I've been hooked on that subject literally since my earliest memories, and it's never stopped. But I've never really had any strange things happen to me until this happened. So this was, I don't forget what year it was, but it was right in the rage where all those ghost hunting shows were popular on TV. Ghost Hunters was a huge show. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for joining. Yeah, actually, interdimensionals, that is probably my leading theory on where this phenomena is coming from. So thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it makes the most sense. I think actually things coming from another planet make the least sense. And I think that would actually explain as well disappearances. There are so many disappearances that happen in national parks, and not just national parks, but so many instances of people out for a hike and just basically walked off the face of the earth. And I don't know exactly what happens, but I do think portals have something to do with it. I think, hey, Rich, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. If you want to come on, let me know. I will send, anybody who wants to come on, by the way, I'll send you a link. Feel free to come on and shoot the shit. But I think portals open up. And I think people fucking walk into them. What happens to them after they walk into these portals, I don't know. Hopefully somebody will make their way back one time with some proof, and they'll tell us what happened. But back to my story of the strangest shit that ever happened to me. So again, it was back when it was the craze of the Ghost Hunters TV shows. So we're sitting around one night, bored as hell. We're like, let's go fucking ghost hunt. And so not far from me, there's an old tuberculosis sanitarium that's been closed for decades. It was called the West Mountain Sanitarium, I believe. And I've never been there, but I've heard crazy stories. Actually, a fun fact is the Christmas song Winter Wonderland was written by a patient there. So the guy who wrote that song was a patient at the West Mountain Sanitarium, and while he was there, he wrote Winter Wonderland. So when you hear that Christmas song come on this year, you'll know a tuberculosis patient wrote it. And he was in the sanitarium when he wrote it. All right, so we get this idea, me and a friend of mine. So we drive up. It's about 20 minutes. It's probably 9 o'clock at night, 9:30. It's just starting to get dark. So we get there. It's 20 minutes, a half hour from where I live. So we drive up. We weren't sure how to get into it or where it was, but we did know that you can't park right next to it because the neighbors will absolutely call the police. So we had to park like quite a while away and walk there. So how the story starts, we get turned around. We end up going up this mountain trail, and literally by now it's pitch black, absolutely pitch black. We just have this little flashlight with us. So we're probably walking along this trail for maybe 15 minutes. And we're like, I don't think we're going the right way. It can't be this far deep in the fucking mountains, we're thinking. When all of a sudden, what sounded like hundreds of coyotes, I mean hundreds. It sounded like they were all around us, hundreds of them all howling at the same time. It was pretty effing scary. So we're like, all right, right at that moment, we're like, all right, we're definitely not going the right way. Let's turn around and get the hell out of here. So that's what we did, but that's not my story, but that's how it began. So we turn around, we walk out, and we end up finding our way. So We're about to go in, and again, you are not allowed in this place. So a cop, fucking, of course, he caught us right as we were going in, but he was the coolest cop. He pulls up. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" We're honest with them. We're going ghost hunting. I'm sure he's seen it 100 times. He's like, "All right, you didn't see me," and he left. Cool as hell cop. So we sneak in between the fence. We get in. So to paint the picture, this place has been closed for decades. It's just a couple like shells of a building with some concrete pads, maybe like 3 walls, no ceiling. And some of them, it's just all dilapidated by fires over the decades, vandalism, everything's spray painted. But it's on a mountain. There's nothing around it. Like once you walk in, there's a couple of houses at the far end. Like as you're walking, but once you're in there, there's nothing. It's completely dark. There's no lights. It's fenced in by a big, tall chain link fence all the way around. So we walk in. We, checking the place out. Walked around, scoped it out. So we get into this one building. It's a little bit enclosed. There's like a couple broken windows, like no glass left or anything, but concrete walls, floor. I don't remember if there was a ceiling, a roof or not. I don't remember. But, so we go in and, you do the old, if there's anybody here, give us a sign of your presence. So I did that a couple times. My friend was doing it as well, like taking pictures around the area. I don't even know if we ever even looked at the pictures. We probably maybe we did, and we didn't catch anything, but I don't remember. So after a few minutes of that, I said, if there's anybody here, give us a sign of your presence. No sooner than I said that, from me, maybe 3 feet away, this gray mist appears, like up from the floor into a shape of a person. There is zero doubt there's something there in the shape of a person. Looks at me, I'm frozen, completely frozen. The thing appears, like I said, formed into the shape of a person, walked across the room, and as quick as it took shape, it disappeared. So it walked past me, took maybe 3 or 4 more steps, and vanished. So as soon as it vanished, I came to. Person that I was with, so this thing appeared. You see me. It was like right over to the left of me, about 3 feet from me, in front of me. Walked past me like that. Took maybe 3 or 4 steps, vanished. Person I'm with is like right over my shoulder here. I turned around. Before I said a word, she said, I saw it. So again, before I even said anything, she said, I saw it, like wide-eyed. And I don't know if I said anything or not, but a second or so after this, her earring, she had a hoop earring in at the time. Her earring literally came out of her ear, flew about 5 feet or so across the room, and bounced off the wall that was in front of us. Yes, her earring came out of her ear and flew across the room and bounced off a wall about 4 or 5 feet away. Now, there is absolute zero explanation for that. That is natural. Zero. Give me an experience. Tell me how, in a natural way, that can possibly happen. There's just not. So, maybe a little time goes by, maybe a minute or two, when outside, so like I said, the place is surrounded by a chain link fence. So you got to picture the grounds. Like I said, there's a couple burnt out buildings, and just really high grass, up to your knee or higher. In parts were dirt, and then other parts there was just overgrown vegetation. shit like that. Actually, if you go to YouTube, type in West Mountain Sanitarium, there's all kinds of videos of people there ghost hunting. You can actually see what the terrain looks like. So West Mountain Sanitarium. So along this one part of the fence, not far from us, very close to us, there's this big pile of metal, like just trash that people have thrown there over the years. There was like TVs, metal pipes, like railings, like just a whole bunch of shit. It starts shit. We hear something like loud and forceful, like forcefully loud, like objects busting together. It begins gradually, and it picked up in ferocity. So I'm flashing my flashlight over there. There's nothing there. There's nobody there. It wasn't like an animal, a cat went by and made stuff shake. I mean, everything was shaking, like loud and forceful. At that point, we got the hell out of there. I took out my knife, like we were scared, like legit scared. And I regret leaving to this day. Like, if we had stayed, what more could we have found out about, like, literally the greatest mystery in the history of humanity? Are we alone? What happens after we die? All those questions possibly could have been answered. But, like I said, we were, like, terrified at this point. Like, all this stuff that I just said had happened in a matter of a minute, or like 5 minutes, say, 5 or 10 minutes, however long it was. But a very short period of time. So I have my knife out. We like book it to my car and got out of there. But it was irrefutable proof that there's something else out here. But that was my paranormal experience. It was the only real crazy thing that ever happened to me. But that was that. So thanks for listening. I appreciate it. But I've thought about it, very often since then. What was it? Like I said, I'm a very rational and grounded person. But I try to almost talk myself out of it. Like, did I really see that? But there's zero doubt that exactly what I explained to you is exactly what happened. So thanks for listening. And, to this day, it's still like, not freaks me out, but really makes me ask those big questions that, that we all think of. Are we alone? What is the nature of our reality? Where do we come from? What happens after we die? Like, all those questions. I feel like I was so close to it that night that, I think about it very often to this day. So T. Freeman says, in Orange County, California, we had disappearances in Huntington Beach and Newport Beach. They were taken quickly. Did they ever come back? I'm usually pretty up to date. I actually have the Missing 411 book on my shelf right here. Where is it? Missing 411 right here. If you can see that book. So I try to keep up to date on missing people, especially missing hikers. Were they missing hikers or anything, do you know? So T. Freeman says, in Orange County, California, we had disappearances in Huntington Beach and Newport Beach. They were taken quickly. I would love to know more about that. Alright, what else do I have to say? I think I'm getting tired of rambling. Again, I need people to participate in the conversation. We have 154 people watching. If you're watching on X, go to my profile. Click the link. Come over to YouTube. Join the conversation. It'd be much appreciated. I think about my near-death experience. What feels daily is it felt more than this reality. T. Freeman says, no, one left his new camera on the Pacific Coast Highway The 15-year-old was taken off the beach by the pier. Holy shit. When was this, T. Freeman? Hey, safe driving, Rich. What's SCU? Isn't that a college? Thanks to everybody for watching. We have 154 people watching. Much appreciated. Thank you to everybody for coming by. I'm Joe with UAP Reporting Center. On X, I also run Beyond Top Secret by UAP Reporting Center on YouTube. Or the name of the channel is actually just UAP Reporting Center, but the show is called Beyond Top Secret by UAP Reporting Center. Also, go to our website, www.thecontactreport.com. We have deep dive investigations on there. You can report UFO sightings on there. I will actually, if I find it necessary, I will contact you, possibly investigate the sighting. I am a UAP investigator, like I was saying. I took a very in-depth class on it. This was my study book, and this will walk you through everything needed to do an investigation. I highly recommend it. If you're into UAPs, take the MUFON investigator class. It's a little expensive, but you learn some absolutely great stuff. But like I said, if you go to www.thecontactreport.com, all of our deep dive investigations are on there. Scientific Coalition of UAP Studies with Chris Mellon is the key. Oh, that must have been awesome, Rich. Hey, T. Freeman, thank you very much for coming. Much appreciated, man. Come by anytime. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter. I'd love to talk to you some more. And actually, if you're still watching, send me an email at uapreportcenter@gmail.com. I would love to hear more about those disappearances. Rich, I'd be interested to know if anything was said about Trump waiving the NDAs, what Mr. Mellon thinks of them. I think it's really cool that you went there. I know how you feel about Mr. Mellon. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Much appreciated. I find that shit really interesting. Chris Mellon is definitely an interesting character. Those of you who don't know Chris Mellon, where do I begin? He comes from the Mellon banking family. Old money. Like original old money. And he rose in the ranks of the defense industry, the intelligence defense industry, like basically an assistant secretary of defense. Very, very high ranking, very much in the mix of the gatekeepers and the circles of power, the deep state. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Chris Mellon is absolutely part of the deep state. The officials who aren't elected, in bureaucratic roles who really run the country. Chris Mellon is a very, very powerful person and a very extremely wealthy person who comes from old money. So he's very much, for a lot of years, has been intertwined with the disclosure conversation. But what are his intentions? Is it just because he believes in transparency and wants the truth to come out, or is he playing a deeper game? I tend to doubt the intentions of people in those sorts of circles. So I have a little bit of a hard time believing he's just doing it for the sake of doing the right thing. Maybe he is, and that would be awesome. But I have a hard time believing that. And Rich pays attention to Chris Mellon, so I find it very interesting, Rich, that you went to go hear his speech. I'd definitely be interested in what he said. Chris would, Nicole, that's a good point. Chris would definitely be one of those people, supposedly, or you would think, who can now come forward, to Arrow or Pursue or the ODNI, and and can tell what he knows. And as an Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, I would imagine he knows quite a lot. So it's time to either put up or shut up. But maybe it's not that easy, because Pursue, Arrow, I have a hard time believing that they are there for disclosure, that they are there for transparency. I think they're there to silence whistleblowers. I have a fear that whistleblowers are going to come forward, share what they know, and their information is going to be killed on sight and classified to eternity so it never gets out. He is, Nicole, I'm reading your, what about the NDA? He is. What do you mean stealing the framework? What do you mean? Could you elaborate on that? Oh, yeah, no doubt, Nicole. Absolutely no doubt about that. Right on. So we'll see what comes from all this. I don't think much is going to come from it, but we'll see. All right, I'm probably going to hop off of here. I appreciate everybody coming by. Thank you to all 159 people of you for coming by. I never do these. I'm just not very good at talking in front of a camera by myself. I'm just not that great at it, but I appreciate you guys coming. Much appreciated. We'll see you on the next one. Nicole, they will extract and scrape and try and blackmail. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I believe that's the whole intention behind it. Anybody in Washington coming forward saying it's about transparency and disclosure, I just don't believe it. If you look at the history of government, from the Havana Syndrome to them covering up that whole story of people being attacked, now they just want disclosure and honesty and it's all kumbaya. I don't buy it. We should all talk about... I'm not sure what you're saying there. Elaborate a little more for me on what you're saying. Nicole, I would love to talk more about this. Send me an email. Either message me on Twitter or email me at uapreportcenter@gmail.com. Or the same thing at proton.me, depending on what you want to say. So uapreportcenter@gmail.com or uapreportcenter@proton.me. KPI framework is created for civilization. Huh. I would love to hear more about that. Please send me an email on that. It's something I would like to look into a little bit. Thank you. I'm going to hop off here, everybody. UAP reports. Yep, that's it. uapreportcenter@gmail.com. Yeah, email me. I would be absolutely... I'm going to type it in here for you. UAP. Doesn't have to all be in caps, but either way. UAP report center at... Yeah, that's it. Actually, let me just put the link. Let me see. Hang on one sec, guys. Gotta make sure I'm giving you the right email address. Yep, uapreportcenter@gmail.com. Yeah, so please send me an email. I would like to talk further about that and look into it a little bit. Sounds pretty interesting. Everybody, thanks for coming by. Much appreciated. Subscribe on YouTube. UAP Reporting Center on YouTube. Same thing on X. I think I'm also on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, but I'm most active on YouTube and X. So catch me there. I appreciate everybody for coming by. Nicole, email me either on Twitter or send me an email. All right, guys. Talk to you later.